Hypnotic on Netflix was, oh my God, so many levels of bad. And I feel bad for my man, I think it's pronounced Dulé Hill, because he didn't need to be in this movie. I don't know how much they paid him, but my man, I think, has been Oscar nominated. And this movie, I get it. 2021 has been a hell of a year. You take a job when you could get a job, but man, what's going on? Why did you choose this movie? But before I get into a little bit more depth about this movie, consider this your spoiler warning, because I will be talking spoiler-ish. So let's get on to the review. But man, they did him dirty. They did Hill dirty. The acting in this movie was so horrible. So bad. From, I don't like pinpointing all these actors, even though I do in some of them, but let's just say the only one is Hill that did an admirable job. He's done several roles, and if you're familiar, he just brings that role to this movie. Now, there is a fight scene with him and Jason O'Mara, and I think he plays Batman in some of the animated movies, but there's a fight scene at the end that is so awful. So the punches, you could see again, I don't know who the choreographer was or choreographed this fight scene, but that person should never work in Hollywood again. It was just so bad. They could have done maybe a Marvel style, jump scenes, cut scenes, or something better than what that was. It was just comically bad. The wig that Kate wore at the end of the movies, or not even at the end of the movies, throughout this whole movies, were horrible. Who is the prop director or the props person that said, you know what? And even the director and producer, who looked at this and said, yeah, you know what? Those wigs look believable. They did not even her. And then the last scene when she's going to Hill's office, because he's a detective in this movie, you could see how big her hair is. Like, they didn't even do the bun correctly in it. Her head looks so massive, and it looks so freaking fake. And in so many of the scenes, just bad. And like I said, I think I harped this over a little bit on the beginning. The acting was awful. And even, like I said, my man Dulé Hill could not save this movie, no matter how hard he tried. And even in some of the scenes, you could see that he was less than enthused with this movie and how it turned out. But he was like, hey, I'm getting paid. I got a paycheck. I got a fat paycheck out of this maybe. I'm hoping that he got a pretty fat check for this from Netflix or from whoever booked him. I hope he got paid for this one, because ouch, this was bad. The pacing of this movie was awful. This movie is only an hour and 30 minutes around there, probably even less, like an hour and 15 minutes. And it feels like 2 hours. That is not good when you have a movie drag like this. And I'll give it this. It's definitely an interesting subject, right? With a hypnotist and what if hypnotism was actually real. Now, it's been disproven. It doesn't work. The shit that you see on Instagram, TikTok, on YouTube is fake. Now, there is a subtle of hypnotism like what we call meditation, which puts you in a mindful state. That's not the same thing. This is going into straight manipulation, straight control, and there is no such thing. But in saying that, I appreciate the premise, and it's interesting to think in a what if it was real, right? Now, they mentioned MK Ultra, and I'm going to just tell you, go on YouTube and look that up. You'll have a much better time watching those documentaries or some of the information on MK Ultra, because that is a legit CIA Black Ops project that, especially in this world, in this day and age where people don't trust the government, people don't trust, government entities. The MK Ultra is one of those projects that leads you like, yeah, This is why I don't trust the government. This is why I have problems with getting an injection. And hey, I don't care what your politics are, whether you're here, whether you're there. This is a legit declassified black ops project from the CIA where they were trying to see if they could control people, where they use LSD. This program here is probably why we have such a huge LSD addiction in the United States, that we just shoved it under the carpet because it was just that big. And go out and just read it. Just go out, and I think this documentary is like 20 minutes. Won't take much of your time, but I guarantee you'll have more fun watching that. Maybe fun is the wrong word, but you'll have more. You'll get more knowledge out of those documentaries than you will of this movie, because what they did to American citizens in the name of science, continuing shit that the Nazis did during World War II, where they were trying to use, hallucinogenics, drugs, suggestive to control the mind, and to see what they did to the Jewish population in World War II. And again, what the United States allowed to do within the borders of our country should be something that the United States should be reprimanded. And those people that suffered under that, there should be an open investigation, and those people should be paid, because what they did in the name of science was atrocious. So that's why I don't get completely mad when I hear people getting all crazy about the COVID shot. And again, we're not going to discuss that here. But this project here, that when they mentioned it was MK Ultra, is one of those things that you're like, oh my God, what did America do? Jesus. And we wonder why. So that's probably the most fascinating thing that they said. Not even fascinating, just something that they're basing this on, like, oh look, MK Ultra, even though again, hypnotism does not work. It is a sham. They're selling you snake oil. It never works. I've tried doing hypnotism like 3 or 4 times. It has never worked. And I know people say, oh, well, it's only due to gullibles. It only works on this. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work on anyone. They can't knock you out. It's all for, the show and pony, or whatever that phrase is. It's not true. It's been debunked. And even the person that was in charge of MK Ultra, the real life one, basically said at the end of what horrible things he did and what he injected, and when he put these people through the pain and the horrors that he actually put these people through, at the end of it, he said you were not able to control someone using hypnotism or using even LSD. Now, the LSD was used afterwards because he thought maybe I could use some kind of drugs to enhance the brain and to control them. And even that, he could not prove that, even though he did it for, I think, decades. But go out and check out the documentary. If you want to check out the movie, do it so on your own risk, because it is horribly acting and the pacing is awful. After all of this, I'm giving this movie a D- because it was all over bad. And the only reason I didn't give it an F+ was because my man Dule Hill, or Dual Hill, however it's pronounced, he was in there, and he kind of just made this a little bit better when he was on screen, because I do enjoy his acting, even though, like I said, you could see it in his eyes and you could see it in some of his expressions that he was just done with it at some point. But I hope you got paid, my dude. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments, and like always, that's a wrap.